Greetings. Recently I've been playing a lot of Quake, and in the last week in particular I have been spending time playing Torrent of Impurities, or smej2end, which is the Finnish mapper episode jam, the second one they've released. The levels are all to an extremely high quality. It's a continuous episode, so one level follows into the next, and it's also co-op compatible, which is quite rare in Quake, but thankfully becoming a lot more common, so you can play it with your mates as well. Every single map's worth talking about. I think every single map's probably worth making a video for, to be honest with you. In particular, like Mazu's made this incredibly complex, detailed and beautiful map, and the same can be said of sort of New House's map as well, and well, singling them out just feels kind of pointless here. But today I decided to play the final map in the set, which is called Spawn of Your Frailty by smilecythe. Smilecythe has made a few other maps, well, two other maps actually to be precise, which are quite polarising, but I think they're absolutely brilliant. In the first Smej, they made the very first level, which was a tech base, which had quite a few time jumping puzzles that really required you to be quick on your feet, especially if you played on Nightmare and the co-op difficulty mode. And they also released the best map in the January Jump Jam collection called Mana Vemputin, I believe it's called. I've made videos about both of these on my channel, so you can probably go find them. There's no commentary, it's just me playing. So, Spawn of Your Frailty is the final map. There's a boss battle at the end. It's quite a journey. There's a lot of tricky platforming, some quite harsh combat setups. It's fantastic. I decided to record this video playing on Nightmare with the co-op flag, so it's like I'm playing a co-op session on my own, because it adds a sort of 200 more monsters and it sort of just makes things a little bit more exciting. So, please, enjoy. Right, so you can see there the underside of the map, the complexity there. In the void, you're on like a base or a station of some sort. First thing you do is you get a quad. This is quite an intense little quad run. It's the same on Nightmare really, just with a lot less in the way of enemy density. You've got to get that red armour sooner rather than later. There are flying enemies there who shoot nails at you. They're called Centurions. They hurt a lot. My main target is getting rid of those blue men. They're the Devastators, who are sort of unique to this set. They're a very nasty enemy. When you get up close, they shoot a spread of enforcer sorts of lasers, but at a distance they shoot a rocket launcher at you, which has splash. So, really, it's extremely dangerous. But it's relatively straightforward here. As long as you make it out that first sort of 5 seconds, eventually you get into a situation where you can just circle around and around and around. I apologise, I've got a bit of a cough at the moment, so if I sputter a bit when I talk, that's why. But all I want to do here is attempt to preserve at least a little bit of armour. On Nightmare, this is a copper-based set, I should have mentioned that before if I didn't. You have 50 maximum health. So that makes things a little trickier at the start of this map, but later on it becomes largely immaterial, for reasons you'll see. So, the first job is to clear out 2 different control towers, which are both puzzle-based. And that opens up that little force field you saw there. Right now I'm just sort of scrounging up some nails and some resources first, because I would like to go and get the grenade launcher, which is an optional sort of secret area. The secrets in this map were relatively difficult for me to find, but this one's quite straightforward. So, gimmick here is you've got the Vor sitting on a platform down below, and you have all of these scrags just spamming at you around the edges. I really just want to kill the Vor as quickly as possible. If you have no armour in this situation, chances are you're going to die, or you're going to take a lot of damage because all of these scrags are in awkward positions. And as you can see, the projectile is following me around there. But thankfully, this is copper, so the projectiles aren't quite as aggressive on Nightmare. They aren't faster than me, which is good. And eventually they just explode, as you can see that, and that's no longer an issue. So, going along here, there's a silver key. There are 5 silver keys in this map. This is entirely an optional thing to do, but it basically trivialises a large portion of the end of the map, or at least makes it substantially easier, so get them, you know? At the cost of a little pain early on, you get rewarded later on. Now you see, I've made a big mistake here, a huge mistake actually, it's kind of embarrassing. I came into this after I got in from work, and I thought, okay, I've got a bit of free time, let's just play. And I forgot the best thing to do in the situation here is don't engage the spider, the vor, straight away. If you stand back in the corner and kill all of the wizards, the little scrag boys, if you kill the scrags, there's no issues. He won't even target you. So now I have to do this awkward thing where I'm just running in a circle waiting for the projectiles to go away, which is just embarrassing, really. A bit of a time waste, but I'm not going for speed here. So, grenade launcher. First thing to see here are these big blue things. These are coolers. This is the progression for the secret, the big secret. Unfortunately, it's very hard to find that out. I got a little hint from smilecythe about that when I was streaming, because I had no idea. These dogs here I want to mention as well. They are like normal dogs, but they do a lot more damage and they're faster. Also, they all explode into gibs whenever you kill them, which I've been told is a bug, but I think it's extremely cute, and it should probably stay the way it is. It gives them a bit of personality, you know? But that's fine. So I'm just collecting resources along here. The reason I'm not destroying these coolers up here is because they take a lot of ammo. These spawns in this map are much stronger than regular spawns, you might have noticed by the amount of damage they're taking. Which means that they're a big ammo sink, especially in awkward places where you can't get good shots on them. Sometimes, you know, it's good to lure them into the void, but sometimes they don't die in the void. It's very frustrating. I was frequently pressing tab when I was recording this demo just to make sure if they died or not. So as you can see, here's an example of one which is just in a very awkward position and taking a lot of punishment. So these are the two control towers, or the two wings, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they're called, I've forgotten. Which release the force field to the rest of the map. Once I've gotten rid of this awkward spawn, I'll describe what's going on in them, because they're basically jumping puzzles. This jumping puzzle, the salmon run, I would say is the hardest one, or the salmon climb, is probably the hardest one for me. I found this really hard for no discernible reason. So, the gimmick is here, when you walk up to these platforms, they go down, and they, like, switch on, they go up and down and up and down. So you're just waiting for it to go up, jump there. The trick to that platform is you want to wait just for the lift to start going down before you jump, and then that lowers the platform that lets you jump onto the button switch here, as you can see. There's a secret, which is round here, which requires a little bit of advanced movement. You've got to have a bit of air control. So, you get to here, you shoot this button, which lowers the other lift, and then you completely mess the jump up. Kind of embarrassing the amount of times I messed this up, because it's very straightforward, but it's tricky. And obviously, that's the trick to getting onto the platform to start the secret. So we wait for this lift to go up, we jump just as it's falling down, and if we rush, we can just get on top of it before it resets. It's very inventive. It's just really, really annoying. Shoot the switch to the last platform, go along, and then you have access to a red armour. These armours are indispensable. They make all the difference between Nightmare being incredibly hard and pretty manageable, especially with co-op on, mainly with co-op on I'm thinking about here. Going to leave. As you can see, there are Vors up above on a walkway, and more enemies filter in. There's no real reason to push out in this situation. It's the same with both sides, so I choose just to kind of chill here, because why not, you know? You can see there the incredible damage Devastators do with the rocket launcher if you're not paying attention to them. I think they also lead shots sometimes, which is horrifying, so you really want to close the distance and get right up in their faces in a lot of maps. Because at a distance, if there's more than one, they are just going to shred you. Mazu's map in particular is horrendous for that, in a good way, of course. These doors are quite fun because they'll also crush enemies instantly if they walk into them. So everything's cleared out here. I'll use save the nails so you can do this, just kill these spiders up at the top. You can just sort of run on, and if you do that, they jump down from the platform to ground level, but this is easy, this is safer. It might waste a bit of time, but it's better to be safe than sorry. The thing about long maps like this is that you make a single mistake early on, maybe you eat a death, it's not a big deal, but when you're trying to get that consistency, it's a pain to mess up the things that you could easily have avoided just by playing sort of safer. I don't have the mentality of a speedrunner. So, the Micropoles, I think this is called. The fourth of 37 of these coolers, and this is a good example. You see just how bloody tanky these enemies are. Horrendous. So the gimmick here is you push the poles, and they move into a new position. And if you push them in a certain order, they provide platforms to jump on. You have to be relatively quick on your feet here, but it's not too hard. Whoops, and I didn't jump properly there, fell off the edge. So wait for it all to reset, start again. This is the order I found the easiest to do it in. You can just jump along, you can jump along to this one, do a little 180, and you're on the main pole here. That's it, the force field's now unlocked. But if you look under here, there was a secret switch. There's 3 of those. This is a really funny ambush. It doesn't actually do anything, but it's just cute to shoot the dogs as they're falling out of the sky. One shot them sort of, as a jib on the way down. Good fun. Don't want to open the door behind me here because I don't want to wake up. There's another big wave of enemies. Again, there's no reason not to there's no reason to leave this room, so you just stay in there, you know. And finding those buttons there, that lowers the lift to the Comm Station, which is just on the right-hand side, where there's a red armour, which comes in handy later on. Again, look, I'm just cheesing this door because why not, you know? No reason. See, killed by the door then. There's no reason not to. Just taking it easy. I'm trying to preserve the nails. That's the main thing here, and the rockets. Ammo is quite tight considering it's balanced around co-op here. You've actually got to think quite hard about what you want to do with the resources, which is good. It's nice to see things like smej, which are a little more hardcore than the standard Quake release. It's just to see something that's sort of more not afraid of flexing its muscles, putting the player in situations that are uncomfortable, taking advantage of Quake's movement system, you know, which is phenomenal, second to none, especially Quake World. It's beautiful. So, you know, get that verticality, get players jumping, get players taking advantage of the more advanced mechanics to get secrets. It's good. You know, air control, ramp jumping, surfing, whatever you want. So, this releases a couple of Centurions here. They always die in 4 shotgun hits. They can do a lot of damage to you, but as long as you're sort of strafing and moving laterally, not an issue. Trying to get the health here, unsuccessfully. Before I go into this next area. There's a cute trap here. Corridor seals off. Centurions on either side. It's relatively straightforward though, I mean, just strafe, basically. If you move forward a little bit when they're firing it, you'll go underneath their nails. Not an issue. There's a little stinger here, which is only in the co-op mode. You won't find this just in regular Nightmare. That's when you finish this off, you get the Devastators there. There's one at either side. That can be quite nasty if you're not expecting it, but if you are, you've saved some grenades. 3 grenades is all it takes to crush them. There's the trap here as well, which is pretty horrendous. The situation is deceptively dangerous. The reason I'm having to hang back so hard is because there's a Devastator that you can see that just shot at me on the right. And there's one higher up on the left. And the splash is ridiculous in this sort of situation. And of course you've got the enforcers who in copper never stop firing once they lock onto you until you break line of sight or shoot them. So they're actually dangerous. You've constantly got to be aware of them. It's like an arachnotron basically. Just gently clearing this section out. Now this is going to be interesting. I'm going to make a very significant mistake here, which actually works out in my favour, given the way Copper's weapons work, I believe. Or at least I'm going to say that, because it makes my mistake look a lot nicer. So, I'm going back for the red armour now, because I'm about to do something which is pretty hairy in terms of terms of combat. There's a Mega, which I left deliberately for this fight as well, which I completely forgot about and just walk away from, which is a bit embarrassing. Again, it's a poor mistake, but I didn't think too hard about it. Fell into the quad. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to climb up because there's a super nail gun on the ledge up there. And I used the nail gun pretty much exclusively in this fight here just to clean it up. So there's more keys up here. There's 3 more silver keys. Every time you collect one, it spawns some Devastators. But with copper, there's a trade-off with using the super nail gun, where it's less accurate. So it's not quite as good at extremely long distances, and therefore less ammo efficient. Using the regular nail gun here seems to work quite nicely. Getting a quad grenade off into this massive cloud of Centurions is important. Just being aware that there's going to be grenades coming from every side, basically. Always going to be grenades from every side. It's a really fun little crossfire, this. It's very intense. And now I'm going to gently clean it all up. Saving grenades just for taking care of the guys on this rooftop. Because they're a pain otherwise, they're a real pain. As you can see there. So, we have 3 of the 5 keys now. And as you can see, there are these 2 platforms moving back and forth. One has a picture of a lightning bolt, one has a picture of a rocket launcher. Those are the puzzles for the rocket launcher and the lightning gun, respectively. Surprising no one. I'm climbing up the ramp there because it gives me that bit of extra momentum to put the grenades on the top. Jumping off the ramp, it's very cute. So, going to the LG first. It's called the Flesh Filter. It's a very easy puzzle. You shoot the switches, yellow means you teleport to it, and it's just a matter of climbing with the lift. You want to wait till the very last second to shoot the ceiling one, otherwise you'll go into the filter, which is that sort of blue texture, and you start again, basically. These platforms are really awkward as well. Coming out, you've got a dead stop when you come out the teleporter, because otherwise you'll just walk into the void. It's very deceptive sometimes, because the platform would be in the right position, and the minute you start walking forward to the teleporter, it pulls away from you. It's quite mean. It's worth mentioning here as well, inside the puzzle rooms, there's void. But unlike in the main map, the void won't kill you if you mess up. You just teleport out and take a little bit of damage. I think that's a bit of poor sort of visual signposting, because when I first played this blind, I was terrified of doing that particular trick there to get to the rocket launcher, just the journey, because I thought, if I fall in the void here, I'm dead, and it's called the Airwalk, and I have to start again. So it's fine though. In general, in the puzzles, you're fine. I just wish it was visually signposted. Finding the secret switch here to get into this warehouse, it took me 20 minutes of searching, and then I eventually gave up and asked on the Discord because I could not figure it out. A little embarrassing. And there's another secret around the pack here for a ring, which is completely useless. The Airwalk's really nice. The puzzle to get the rocket launcher there, I did it very quickly, but it is just being able to aim accurately while falling. This quad, speaking of, is just a shooting gallery with a shotgun, which is a lot of fun. Things like the Airwalk, it's just about having that aim. A lot of people didn't like smilecythe's smej2end map because it required an actual ability to aim and move at the same time for doing these little puzzles. And this map's no exception, so, you know, if you don't have that maniacal dexterity, which a lot of people don't, it might not be for you this, but, you know, that's fine. You can always save scum through it, no clip if you like. No judgment at all, this stuff just comes with experience and practice, like most things in life. Getting that key there, clearing things out, only danger is a fiend jumping on your head. I am starting to destroy the coolers now I have the LG, because it's one of the best ways of doing so. It prevents the spawns from escaping, basically, and causing issues or vanishing. This isn't to say that I actually succeed to get 100% in this run, because I don't. I think there's 4 enemies. I don't know why they didn't. Maybe they didn't spawn. Sometimes stuff goes in the void and it doesn't die. It just teleports out in random places. It's kind of odd, but it's good enough, basically. I'm doing my due diligence to try and kill everything. Bit more clean up here before we go to the 5th key. And the 5th silver key here is incredibly cruel. This is what killed me when I first played it. This is my first death to this map. As you can see, there's a whole underlift secret. If you go down boldly, you'll die instantly. You've got to time your drop onto the moving platform, which is actually harder than it looks. And then you have this, which is just lots of scrags. And they can actually block you and prevent you from being able to ride on the platform if you're like using a shotgun or something. It's very dangerous. These platforms also don't sync up very nicely, so you've got to be careful as you jump across. And coming out of the teleporter introduces us to the mechanic in the back half of this map, the Antiranger system. You walk over those hazard tape lines, the Antiranger system activates. It's a bunch of rockets sort of from those sort of like SAM site looking things along the big wall. Going out the teleporter for the silver key, it could kill you instantly if you're not careful. You've got to just press forward. So, this is why the keys were so useful. Getting 5 silver keys opens this room up, which is just unlimited resources, which is incredibly kind. Maybe it's a little bit too kind, in my opinion, but it's your new base of operations for the rest of the map. So, there's another lion switch there, there's 4 of those. That's the hardest one on the map to get to. You've got a rocket jump up or jump off the ramp, and you can be blasted by a rocket and immediately pushed down into the pit. It was that little section there and the drop down from the lift that scared me the most about recording this, and it actually got me once, so bully on me. So, what you want to do in this section is you've got those 4 hut-like buildings, as you can see. You want to press the button to go inside them, and there's a different puzzle in each one. This is called the Hopscotch. Time platforms. I mean, you can see why it's called the Hopscotch. You just gotta get the timing right, which, once you get the hang of it, is very gentle. You can just go along. The trick is then shooting the buttons without losing your footing, which, it should be easy in theory, but as you can see here, I'm struggling a great deal because I don't want to fall in. Terrible. And the last one is behind, obviously, just to make it really awkward. But once you make it across, that's it. All is well. 2 coolers on this side. There's 2 coolers in every single gold key area room. And there's also always a secret. And the secret's always the same. So here, if you follow the upper path along from these sort of beams, go all the way back to the start, you see you get a pentagram, which is not useful for me because I have access to the supply room, but if you don't, it's a godsend, because it lets you get into these next sort of portals without getting it beaten up too badly by the rocket barrage system. It's so fast and it's pretty much impossible to dodge it. You're going to get hit. The Blossom Bed. This is a really, really cool and interesting fight. So, here's the concept. You've got to shoot to open up these little, like, flower pods almost, just going along, doing some platforming and shooting stuff. In co-op mode, there are monsters up above behind those force fields. They are not there in regular Nightmare. I think it's to give your friends something to do if you're doing these Lotus things, because 2 players can't do this. This is definitely a 1-player thing. So, it's grenades, and my initial reaction to that when there's sort of wizards and ogres would be to kill the ogres, which I did when I was trying this map in co-op mode. Don't do that. It spawns a bunch of hit enemies up there, and then when you kill them, it spawns Devastators. It's not worth it. You just want to stay down here, you just want to keep working along. If you fall in, it's not the end of the world, you only take a little bit of damage, but you do spawn directly above these pads, and you get stuck in this situation where you can't shoot the little red thing, and you just fall in the abyss over and over again, taking 20, 30, 40 damage. But once you do it, you're out. It's great. Now you can kill these nasty ogres. You can fall back down as well, which is embarrassing. And this is why you don't want to shoot those ogres at the start. Because, you know, especially on Nightmare, you're going to get shredded by the bullets, who are, in Copper, one of the most dangerous enemies on Nightmare. 50 base HP is not good when you are taking 10 damage per shotgun blast, or how much it is. So there's one left here. And here's the nasty bits. Devastators, 4 of them, and 4 balls. I've died here, and I take a lot more damage than I want to here. It really annoyed me, but it's okay. Fell down, embarrassingly. That's it for the Blossom Bed. I mean, it's a beautiful trap. I really like it. It reminds me of something more controlled that you'd see in, like, Stardate. And to be fair, smej2end has quite a few things like that. Mazu's map has this fantastic rune chamber, which is like a shambler with pillars moving around. And the shambler keeps respawning, so you want to try not to get blasted by it, which is kind of like, you know, Sunlust map 29, but a little bit jackier because of the way the shambler works with the sort of instant lightning attack. There's a secret here inside one of these pods. Press the button there, press your hand on it, you get another pence. So that's 2 of the 4 keys. There are actually 5 gold keys though. 1 is required for the secrets, the big super secret. And you need the lion key to get to that area. Sorry, to touch all the lion buttons, if you will. You can see here that I'd rather take the upper walkways and jump down to these platforms than walk along the edge, because you can just get batted straight into the abyss. So staying out of there is the best thing to do. This is a particularly dangerous one because I've got to go press that last lion button there. This is the pet course. There's something very similar to this in a Heresy's map that came out recently you should also play, which is called, oh shit, what's it? Hair SP2. Imhotep's something? The big pyramid level? Oh, I've forgotten the name of it. That's incredibly embarrassing. It's a beautiful map. So the idea here is you're leading these this dog around, this pit bull or whatever the hell it's supposed to be, toward the gold key. I could not figure this out. I think there's an elegant solution to this, but I could not figure the logic out, and I have a sort of a pea-brain, so I brute force it by abusing the enemy's pathfinding. As you can see here. Waiting for it to run away from me, then just trapping it to get to the next section, because that corner otherwise is tricky. Should be relatively straightforward to continue from here, it's just 2 button presses, but I managed to screw this up, so we're going to spend another minute and a half watching me do this. Imhotep's Legacy was the Heresy map I was thinking of, which has something quite similar, but it involves pushing knights into a crusher. It's very Crystal Maze. Speaking of, this sort of map, and this sort of puzzle idea is why I would never be a good contestant in that show. My brain just vacates when it comes to logic stuff, which is embarrassing. So, got to do it all I can, realise the error of my ways. There's got to be a more elegant way of doing this. There has to be. It's kind of just, I'm watching this back now and I'm embarrassed by my own behaviour, really. Go along. No. You've got to kind of predict when they're going to go across, or hope they'll go around the corner. And also, I think me walking forward made it worse, because doing that changes where you're positioned. So they no longer feel they have to go all the way around to try and get you. No, it still doesn't work. I assume that in a version that you're probably playing now, maybe a few months in the future, this has been patched as a result of my video and the way I did this on a stream, and now it's hard again. And I've screwed it up again. This beggars belief, really. I was quite happy with this one. I did one before last night, and it went really well, except for I missed one of the coolant tanks, so that was 10 minutes wasted trying to find it. This one, pretty good. I could probably knock the time down another 5-10 minutes if I really pushed hard, but I'm very clearly not a perfectionist. There you are. That releases a slightly bigger pet, slightly more aggressive one. Secret here, illusory wall, lets you into the maze, and there's buttons on the ceiling. Again, this is the way to get the pentagram protection. Also one of the last coolers that you need down here. Now, I could rocket jump up for this, and I attempt to, and I get it wrong. And I think better of it anyway, because you do get an enemy spawn at the top up here when you collect that pentagram. So around we go again. Bit of a waste of time, this. But it's up to me. Playing it safe. There you go. All these devastators. I can imagine that they might all just decide to lock at you at the same time. If you don't have red, that wouldn't be a good time. I'm being paranoid here and just making doubly sure after my failure last time that I did indeed get all of the coolant containers. Getting fully stocked again. It's just so satisfying to hear the sound of endlessly respawning guns. Heading towards the very last fight. You see, almost fell in. See how dangerous it is? When I first saw the Antiranger system, I genuinely assumed it would be something you just disabled before you continued, so I spent all the time finding the silver keys first, basically, because I was thinking, this has to turn it off, right? No, unfortunately not. It's on until the very end of the map. It's interesting because it really is a deterrent. It just feels like... It's so overtuned that it feels like it's just too much, really. It just made me think, no, the game can't want me to do this, right? But smilecythe is a very cruel man. So, maybe he did. This is a secret up here. There's a shoot switch underneath when you drop down. You can also climb up into those little ventilation shafts right at the very top of this puzzle, which is what I did the first time, but it doesn't do anything. So, this puzzle is very straightforward. You shoot the red switches to make the platforms move back and forth. You want to press both the buttons. They're on a timer, so you have to press one after the other. And then you move on to the next set. Which I think I do quite well here. I just take my time. So I'm getting myself lined up for it, getting myself ready. You want to shoot the other switch pretty much when you're at the halfway point. Bit too early there, so do it again. It's a cool idea for a fight. When I saw the platforms, because of the way they looked... Oh, my shotgun there didn't actually hit the button. I thought you maybe had to like jump through them all or something. I was a little confused. And it's only when I made the connection in my head, oh no, wait, you teleport onto the gold pad, that I realised what I had to do. It's quite satisfying. But it's a bit frustrating when your shotgun about to miss. That is for sure. Up we go. And these are the final two buttons. And what I did here, you see the shoot switch there? I would press the button for the other side and then I would jump across, thinking the secret would be in there when I was secret hunting. Which was quite impressive, but a complete waste of time. Right, we have 4 of the gold keys. Technically, we can now leave the map, which is what I'm now going to go and unlock. Which is 4 switches up here. The gate behind there with the lines on opens leads you to the boss. But then again, the boss also is down here for some reason. So let's go down here and clear out the shambler that comes in. And now I believe I am on cleanup duty. I'm finding all of the coolant tanks as a secret that I've missed with a quad run, which I just decided not to do yet. But getting myself in the best position I can to actually go and do the boss, and then hopefully shoot the last coolant tank to show what happens when you do it, because it's quite a cool effect. The intricacy of this map is something to behold, really. It's beautiful as well, the theming. Absolutely beautiful. Apparently it's Airwalk from Quake 2. I never played that version of Airwalk, but it's striking, the neon highlights. There was nothing inside that coolant thing, which made me very uncomfortable. And I believe that maybe that's why I don't get 100% secrets. Maybe stuff in the void doesn't go into the void, or I don't know. I missed 4 kills, I think, in this run, which is a bit embarrassing. Coolant tank there. Now, when I went in here the first time, I was so excited because I thought, wow, it's turned off the Antiranger system. No. Ranger Punch didn't even leave a dent. something more big and scaling. As panic-inducing and cool as it is in all the right ways, the Antiranger system does make secrets kind of unpalatable to go looking for. I only really went for them after I got an exit in the map, and, you know, with saves. I want to say the ambient soundtrack for this level as well is fantastic. It's really cool. The soundtrack in general for smej2end is wonderful. I believe Immorpha made all of the music and most of the sound effects. I think smilecythe made one of the soundtrack things he said as well. He made one track. Very talented. So, when you go into the tower to get the red armor early in the map, you'll see the switch on the top of the tower. On the top of the sort of coolant tank there, and that starts this chain of shoot switches, which, to do blind, is an incredible pain. I think it took me 15 minutes or so of trial and error trying to find out what revealed what. It doesn't help that I got a Centurion blocking the way there. But it forces you to go all the way around the map. There's one down here, they're very quick. I messed that up horrendously, gotta start again. I think in theory it's supposed to start up top, but thankfully the angle is just shallow enough there that you can just about hit it. Just about hit it. Saves a bit of frustration and time and effort, especially when you're trying to figure it out. Going along here. Here's the last switch, almost miss it. Opens up another one of these hatches. And the quad, which is worth it. I'm not sure if it is, to be honest with you, but 100% kills? Sure. Whole lot of Vorse. Nice combat set piece. I didn't want to do this earlier on in the map because I was worried about running low on ammo and not killing myself. Though I suppose if you were being really efficient and you want to take a really good speed run of this, you would take that and use the opportunity to destroy all of the tanks and the Vorse as well. The supercharged Vorse. Also, finding these zombies I found quite tricky sometimes. Maybe I leave some of them alive at the end. I couldn't hear them though, and they weren't throwing things on me from the lamp shades, the big like floodlights at the top there, so just accepted it as it is. And I've realised here I missed one of the coolant tanks. Usually I take it the first time I'm up the top, but I completely forgot. So, on the way to do that now. The whole super secret system in Quake that mappers use, finding bolts, finding all sorts of like books to collect a rune or something, it's very, very rewarding. Increases replayability. Secret hunting in Quake is something which took me a long time to figure out because it's very vertical. It can be very varied compared to something like Doom. Destroying the last of the tanks up here. Which does 4, which should leave us with 32 out of 37. There's 1 in the 5th gold key zone, and then there's 4 in the final fight. So, all's gone very, very well. I mean, look at that rocket barrage there, it's remarkably dangerous. It's not something that you can accurately predict, and because it's not directed at you, the rockets aren't directed at you, it just means that you're running through an artillery strike, basically. Just pray it goes well. Shooting all the gold, the line switches reveals that gold button there. The fight here in the flux capacitor is really easy. Like, it's really easy. You just run in a circle. It's pretty much identical on regular Nightmare as well as co-op mode, so there's no sort of extra density in monsters as far as I can tell. Maybe there is, but you just run in a circle shooting rockets. Again, I feel that the silver key door, the supply thing, really trivialises things a little bit because I've just always got 100 rockets and 100 LG. If you don't have those, there's no actual ammo down there that you can notice, so it would probably get quite tricky. I think the risk, honestly, would be of running a bit dry, which you don't want to do. And that lets you then do this little climb here, which is very, very easy, but satisfying. Switches control the wall toggles here. I was honestly expecting this climb to get more complex as you go up, but it's about the same. I suppose the real challenge is in getting to this area. That's the nasty bit. This is just a reward, really. Bit of murder, relaxing climb. So, one more secret here. I choose to get it now because I don't care about the reward again, which is pence. It's inside one of these tanks. That jump there, you want to just like air control yourself around and hold forward, and then you'll clip onto the bar and then just stop the minute you land there. It's a bit tricky, but it works well. Climbing back up again. Oh, what a climb. It's not too exciting here. This one last puzzle here is you've got to hit a second switch to make that bar raise up, otherwise you'll hit your head in the try and jumping up there, which ain't good. And there you are, reach the top, press the button, it releases the gold key. Absolutely marvellous. Well. So I think now I'm ready to go and fight the boss. And the boss of Torrent of Impurities is, well, you'll see why this map is called Torrent of Impurities. It's called, the set's called Torrent of Impurities. This map is called Spawn of Your Frailty. You see? A bit of lore here. See, it is the spawn of your frailty, eh? Nolyaska, I think you say that way, potentially. I'm not very good with my accent. So this fight is a little bit scary, but it's relatively safe. It's a lot simpler than you think it would be. So it's a spawn that shoots lightning. So it's a spawn and a shambler hybrid. Also it teleports when it gets stuck or it doesn't see you for a while. Or just because it can, usually when you're shooting a rocket at it. If you do enough damage to it, it starts spawning its enemies on the pillars. Basically, just ignore the Nolyaska, ignore the boss, just go for these enemies. It does not matter, because he doesn't actually seem to do much when he's just running a big circle like this. As long as you keep running around cover, every time he attempts to do the lightning attack on you, you're already gone around the corner, you're already out of there. Breaking line of sight also seems to make him teleport more. I don't really understand how that works. So there's two sets of every enemy, which is a bit weird on top of these pillars. Get to the bit with the spawns here, the Vors here. Easy. Loads of rockets. The ammo around the edges of the spawns. There's a beggar health at the spawns on the top bridge. And the yellow. But unfortunately the timer for those is like, it's got to be 90 seconds, something like that. It's a long timer. So you want to be careful. I was surprised honestly how this fight doesn't seem any different from regular Nightmare on co-op mode. I would have made it more complicated by adding more sort of enemies just on the ground level. Just make it chaotic, you know? Make the player really work hard for that, for what's about to happen when you kill all these enemies on the pillars. Add some ground enemies to the mix. Because as it goes, this boss fight takes a long time. I feel that the Cauldron in Mazu's map in smej2end is probably a better boss fight. Far more intense. Or the boss fight as well in Mazu's map as well is very, very good as well. So you kill all the enemies on pillars, you get quad. There's 4 quads. Nolyaska has a ridiculous amount of health and is hard to hit. So really, quad LG is what I want to use here more than anything. Maximise damage output. Just a bit of a pain. I'm waiting for somebody to correct me and say it's like Nolyaska or something, I don't know. Nolyaska, I don't know how to say it. Being English, unfortunately, means that I'm largely ignorant of the world around me. It's a very sad thing. So, I'm not going for the quad straight away here. I'm trying to get a little bit more cell ammo. because I'm hoping to get into a situation where it happens with spawns in the base game as well. They kind of just stand there and they look like they're about to leap because they haven't quite decided what to do, and you can get a load of damage on them then. So, maximising that potential damage output. Unfortunately, doing so opens me up to taking a lot more damage. As you can see there, it hits hard, this boss, it really does. Please not playing massive either. The risk, of course, with any spawn is if you shoot it with a rocket or something like that when it's coming toward you, you could easily give yourself, especially with a quad rocket. That said, I mean, you've always got Mega in these maps, especially in the back half, so the regular risks of Nightmare are somewhat mitigated. The 50 cap is only a soft cap, and you'll spend most of the time with that supply room sitting comfortably at sort of 100 for any fight you want to take. It's all just about how fast you want to go, basically. Taking the yellow there, with its weaker protection. Continuing to circle. I think I just wanted one more set of cell packs here, honestly, even if it does slow things down considerably. I basically just didn't want to die to this fight because it'd be a bit of a shame, really, when you're this deep into something. Ugh. You can see how this map would spiral out of control quite easily if you're not careful. And they've defeated that. Fantastic. So, that will be the end of the map usually. You'll just run to the escape pod now, if you choose to. But there is a secret exit. There's a secret ending. I decide here to spend 5 seconds or so just to go get myself some ammo back, because no use in mucking about with these spawns here. Just want to LG them all. To get these last of the coolers. And once you get the coolers, pumping system underneath Noliaska. That impure water, whatever it is, the cooling system which allows it to feed and develop, I'm not really sure. Opens. I don't know what this finish joke is, to be honest with you. But the mega whitefish is behind the barrier there, you need a gold key to get to it. And there's a lot of spawns down there. Thankfully not all of them could jump that high. It would be nice to be able to discharge the LG in the water with like a pentagon or something and kill them all instantly, but it's not to be, unfortunately. There's always a couple of spawns that hang out around the back that never wake up with the rest. And the persistent risk of drowning, which is honestly, I don't need to surface here, I'm just doing it just to be more of a reflex than anything else. Oh, one got away. Checking every corner. One last time. Nothing. See, I think it's clear. There may have been something left there, but it seems clear enough. So, we have the Mega Whitefish. And if you remember, the defense console said something about Ranger Punch not working, but something big and scaly. Well, you're about to find out what. The escape pod there. If you don't, if you take the normal exit, the rockets will, come at you when you're trying to escape, which is very cinematic and cool, and a bit nerve-wracking, but good fun nonetheless. Don't really need the stuff here, but just being absolutely certain for some reason. The drop down there also made my heart stop every time. I was so afraid of just getting pegged by a rocket. I'm running a bit early there, because yeah, the fish goes in. Just got a lot. Anyway, then move along. go up the top way to kill the one ogre. Not really sure what that's about. And you can see the security system disabled, and the anti-life system has been enabled instead. Bit awkward. The first time I did that, I almost died because I was sitting looking at the monitor and listening to the voice telling me, you know, the life support is disabled in 10 seconds. And it's a really tight run to the end. It reminds me of that telefag from Rubicon Rumble Pack. Honestly, the escape sequence there, but truncated somewhat. There you go, that was Spawn of Your Frailty by smilecythe. The final map in Torrent of Impurities, the second finish mapper episode jam. I hope this was somewhat informative, just listening to me ramble over a video peacefully. If it wasn't, I apologise. Anyway, have a lovely afternoon, or evening, or morning, whatever you're doing. Go check this set of levels out, you won't regret it. All the details in the description. Goodbye.